Sometimes, the strongest feelings aren't shouted from rooftops or wrapped in grand romantic speeches. They live in silence, in quiet moments, small gestures, and unspoken glances. A man who is emotionally attached may not always say the words, "I love you" or "I care." But if you look closely, you'll see it in the way he moves around you, listens to you, and shows up for you. Real emotional attachment doesn't need constant affirmation. It doesn't demand attention. It offers presence. It's not always loud or obvious. In fact, it often shows up in the moments you least expect, when he's just there, understanding, supporting, noticing you, and making space for your emotions without asking for anything in return. You won't have to question his intentions, because even though he may not always verbalize them, his actions speak louder than words ever could. A man who is emotionally invested will begin to blend your world with his. He'll remember the things you mention in passing, respect your space while still staying emotionally close, and quietly protect your heart as if it were his own. His care won't always come in the form of big declarations. It will come in the little things, in how he listens when you talk about your day, in how his mood shifts when you're upset, in how he checks in without needing a reason. These signs aren't always dramatic, but they are deeply meaningful. They are his way of building trust, creating connection, and showing that he values you not just as someone he desires, but as someone he truly cares for. He may not say, "I miss you" every day, but you'll feel it in the way he looks at you when you're not watching. He may not always say, "I'm here for you," but you'll know it when he shows up again and again, without fail. In a world where many relationships are built on surface-level attraction and momentary attention, emotional attachment is something deeper. It's about consistency, empathy, emotional presence, and care that flows quietly but powerfully beneath the surface. And once you learn to recognize these silent ways of loving, you'll never doubt his feelings again. Here are 15 silent ways to know he's emotionally attached to you, not through his words, but through the way he treats you when no one else is watching. 1. He remembers small details you casually mention. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he pays attention in ways that seem small but are deeply meaningful. One of the clearest signs is when he remembers the little things you casually mention, things you might not even remember saying. It could be the way you take your coffee, the name of your childhood pet, a random story about your favorite movie, or how you once said you love the rain. These aren't just facts to him. They're pieces of you that he stores because they matter to him. He doesn't need a reason to remember. He just does, because his emotional connection makes your words feel important. You might find that weeks or even months later, he brings up something you said in passing. Maybe he surprises you with your favorite snack when you're having a bad day, or avoids a topic because he knows it triggers a sad memory. These actions speak volumes. They show that he listens not just to reply, but to understand. He's mentally present when he's around you, absorbing your words like they're clues to knowing you better. He might even recall things you don't expect anyone to remember, like the way you described your dream vacation or how your voice softened when you talked about your grandmother. This kind of attentiveness doesn't come from casual interest. It comes from emotional investment. It means he's not just hearing you. He's feeling connected to your world. And when a man is connected like that, he doesn't need grand declarations. His memory becomes his way of showing you that he cares. In the quiet moments, in the unspoken gestures, and in the tiny details he holds onto, you'll find the truth of how he feels. 2. His mood shifts when you're upset or distant. When a man is emotionally attached to you, your emotions begin to affect his own, even if he doesn't say it out loud. One of the most telling signs is how his mood subtly shifts when you're upset, withdrawn, or emotionally distant. He may not always have the words to express it, but he feels it deeply. If you're quiet or seem troubled, he becomes quieter too. If you're sad, he might lose his usual energy. It's as if your emotional climate has the power to change his inner weather. This shift doesn't always look dramatic. It can be as subtle as him checking in more than usual, or becoming unusually thoughtful or reserved. He might ask if you're okay more than once, or just sit beside you in silence, offering his presence when he doesn't know what to say. When you pull away emotionally, even slightly, he feels that absence like a sudden drop in temperature. It unsettles him, not because he's insecure, but because your emotional presence matters to him more than he can explain. His connection to your mood isn't about control or obligation. It's empathy. Your happiness affects his own, and your pain lingers in his thoughts. He might even find himself trying to fix things just to see you smile again. This responsiveness, though quiet, is a clear indicator of emotional depth. It shows that your feelings have weight in his world. When you're not okay, neither is he, not because he's weak, but because he's attached. That kind of emotional sync doesn't happen with everyone. It happens when someone's heart is quietly aligned with yours. 3. He makes time for you, even when he's busy. When a man is emotionally attached to you, his priorities begin to shift in subtle but powerful ways. One of the clearest signs is how he consistently makes time for you, even when life is pulling him in every direction. No matter how hectic his schedule becomes, he carves out moments, small or large, just to connect. It might be a quick call during a break, a message late at night, or showing up after a long day simply because he knows your presence matters. This isn't about convenience, it's about commitment. When someone is emotionally invested, they don't treat you like an option. Even if he's overwhelmed with work, family responsibilities, or personal goals, he finds ways to keep the connection alive. And when he can't physically be there, he makes sure you know he's thinking of you. That message that says, "I miss you" at the most unexpected time, or the thoughtful check-in during a stressful day, is his way of saying, "You matter, and I'm here." You won't have to chase him or constantly ask for his time, because he'll offer it freely. He might sacrifice sleep, delay something less important, or rearrange his day just to see you smile. And he won't complain about it, because your happiness brings him peace. That kind of consistency doesn't come from casual attraction. It comes from emotional depth. It shows he values you, not just in moments of ease, but especially in moments of chaos. When a man makes time for you even when he's busy, he's not just proving his dedication, he's showing you where his heart truly lives. 4. He subtly mirrors your body language. When a man is emotionally attached to you, his body begins to respond in ways he may not even realize. One of the most fascinating signs is that he subtly mirrors your body language. It's not a conscious imitation. It's a subconscious reflection of emotional connection. When you lean forward, he leans in. When you cross your legs or tilt your head, you may notice he does the same. This mirroring is his body's way of saying, "I feel in sync with you." This natural mimicry happens because emotional attachment creates a kind of silent rhythm between two people. It shows he's tuned in, not just to your words, but to your presence. He may adopt your tone of voice, your pace of speaking, or even your facial expressions without realizing it. When two people are emotionally close, their nervous systems start to align. His body is instinctively trying to build rapport, to make you feel comfortable, to show that he's with you, not just physically, but emotionally. You might notice it most in quiet moments, when you're sitting across from each other and suddenly find yourselves shifting in unison. Or when you're telling a story, and he nods, smiles, or reacts just as you do. These aren't rehearsed behaviors. They are real-time reflections of emotional intimacy. Mirroring is one of the brain's oldest ways of forming trust. And when a man mirrors you, he's not just responding to what you say, he's responding to how you make him feel. It's a quiet, unspoken harmony, and it speaks volumes about how connected he truly feels. 5. He shows concern for your well-being without being asked. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he doesn't wait for you to ask for help or express discomfort. He notices it on his own. One of the most heartfelt signs of this attachment is the concern he shows for your well-being, unprompted and genuine. He pays attention to your habits, your stress levels, your energy. If something seems off, he gently checks in. If you've had a long day, he'll ask if you've eaten or remind you to rest. If you're sick, he might show up with medicine or offer to run errands, not because you asked, but because he truly cares. This kind of concern is different from casual politeness. It comes from emotional investment. He wants to make sure you're okay because your comfort and safety affect him. He might notice changes in your tone or expression before you even voice that something's wrong. Whether it's reminding you to drink water, offering his jacket when you're cold, or simply saying get home safe with real worry behind it. His actions reveal a quiet protectiveness. And it's not just during dramatic moments. Even on ordinary days, he'll look out for you in small ways. He'll encourage you to slow down when you're overwhelmed or support you in making healthier choices, not to control, but to care. His concern isn't loud or demanding. It's thoughtful, patient, and steady. It doesn't seek praise. It just wants you to be okay. That's the power of emotional attachment. When he's truly connected to you, your well-being becomes a part of his world, and he tends to it like something precious, even in silence. 6. He gets jealous or protective, but tries to hide it. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he often develops a quiet sense of protectiveness, and sometimes even a trace of jealousy, without ever wanting to admit it. This doesn't mean he's possessive or controlling. Instead, it shows that your connection matters to him deeply, and the thought of losing your attention or affection unsettles him more than he lets on. You might notice it in small moments, the slight change in his expression when you mention another guy, or the way he suddenly becomes quiet or shifts the topic when someone flirts with you. He won't always voice his feelings directly, especially if he's trying to respect your space or appear calm and confident. But his body language will often betray him. Maybe his tone tightens, or he watches more closely when you're around others. He might suddenly become more attentive, crack a joke to break the tension, or even try to impress you subtly to refocus your attention on him. These reactions aren't rooted in insecurity. They come from the emotional weight you carry in his life. His protectiveness often shows up the same way. If someone is rude to you, disrespects you, or makes you uncomfortable, he steps in, calmly but firmly. Not to control the situation, but to make sure you're safe and valued. His reactions might be quiet, but they are deliberate. You'll see it in how he looks out for you in a crowd, how he notices when you're uneasy, or how he walks you to your car without making a big deal of it. These quiet acts speak louder than declarations. They are silent reminders that your place in his heart is already strong and worth guarding. 7. He listens attentively, even to things that seem unimportant. When a man is emotionally attached to you, every word you say holds meaning for him, even the ones you think are small, random, or unimportant. He listens attentively, not because he has to, but because he genuinely wants to understand you better. You might be talking about your day, sharing a funny story, or venting about something that irritated you, and while others might nod passively, he's fully present. His eyes stay on you, he reacts to your tone, and he engages without checking his phone or interrupting. What sets this apart is the emotional depth behind it. He's not listening just to reply. He's listening to connect. Even if you're rambling about your favorite book, describing your coworkers' weird lunch habits, or talking about your dreams from last night, he tunes in like it matters. Because to him, it does matter. You matter. Your thoughts, even the messy or scattered ones, give him a window into your world, and that world is where he wants to be. Over time, you'll realize he remembers these little things. He brings them up later, refers to them in conversations, or uses them to make you smile when you least expect it. This kind of listening isn't casual, it's rare. It shows as emotionally invested, attentive, and quietly building a map of who you are. You don't have to perform or filter yourself. He's not just hearing words, he's hearing you. And in those moments of quiet attention, he's saying something powerful without words. I care. I see you. I'm here. 8. He finds reasons to be near you or stay in touch. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he doesn't need big excuses to be in your presence. He'll find small, almost invisible reasons to stay close, both physically and emotionally. He might linger a little longer after a conversation, offer to help with something minor, or show up in places you frequent without making it obvious. It's not about being clingy or overbearing. It's about wanting to feel connected, even in the smallest ways. You may notice that he texts you about random things, a meme, a question he could have Googled, or a song that reminded him of you. These aren't just messages. They are quiet efforts to keep the thread between you alive. When the conversation fades, he might bring up something new just to avoid letting the silence stretch too long. It's his way of saying, I'm thinking about you, without putting it into direct words. In person, he may position himself nearby during group events or seem to always sit beside you. If you're walking together, he matches your pace. If you're working on something, he might offer to join or watch, just to be around. These aren't grand gestures, but they are persistent, meaningful ones. He doesn't force attention, he just gently seeks it. Even when life is busy, he finds ways to check in, to show up, to be available. This kind of quiet effort speaks volumes. It shows that being near you gives him comfort, peace, and happiness. And in a world full of distractions and distance, his desire to stay close, without needing a reason, is one of the most honest signs that his heart is already invested. 9. He looks at you when he thinks you're not watching. When a man is emotionally attached to you, his eyes often reveal what his words can't. One of the most tender and unspoken signs is how he looks at you when he thinks you're not watching. It's in those quiet moments, when your attention is elsewhere, that his gaze softens, lingers, and tells a story of its own. He might glance at you across the room, during a conversation with others, or while you're simply doing something ordinary like laughing, reading, or just being yourself. This look isn't about physical attraction alone. It's deeper. It's admiration, warmth, and an emotional pull he can't explain. It's like he's taking a mental snapshot, quietly appreciating your presence without needing to say a word. Sometimes, when you catch him looking, he might quickly look away or pretend he wasn't. Other times, he may hold the gaze for a moment too long before smiling or shifting his focus. These stolen glances often carry sincerity and depth. He's observing not just how you look, but how you move, speak, and exist. He's learning you silently, not to judge or assess, but to understand and feel closer. This unguarded attention is his way of being present in your world even when he's quiet. It's a form of emotional closeness that doesn't need noise or drama. When someone looks at you like that, especially when they don't think you'll notice, it means you're on their mind more than they admit. It means you've become part of the scenery they don't want to look away from. And sometimes, that silent gaze has more than 1,000 compliments ever could. 10. He includes you in his future plans, even casually. When a man is emotionally attached to you, the idea of a future naturally starts to include you, often without him even realizing it. One of the quietest yet most meaningful signs is how he starts mentioning plans, events, or dreams that involve you, even in casual conversations. It might be as simple as saying, "We should try that place someday," or "Next summer, we could go there together." These little phrases aren't just passing thoughts. They are reflections of how naturally you fit into the picture he's painting of his life. He may talk about future goals or big decisions, like career moves, travel, or where he wants to live, and include you in the vision, either directly or indirectly. He might say, "If I move, I'd want you to see the place," or "That's the kind of neighborhood we'd like." These aren't formal commitments, but they are quiet clues that his emotional investment is growing. You've become part of his thought process, part of what makes the future feel more meaningful. Even in everyday plans, he'll consider your preferences and make choices with you in mind. Whether it's picking a movie, planning a weekend, or organizing his schedule, he subtly accommodates your presence. It's not about control or pressure, it's about emotional inclusion. He's not just living in the moment, he's slowly building a bridge that leads toward you and with you. When a man begins to envision life with you in it, even casually, it's a clear sign that you matter to him on a deeper level. He's not just enjoying time with you now, he's already imagining what it would feel like to have you around tomorrow, next month, or even years down the line. And that's a silent but powerful expression of emotional attachment. 11. He opens up about his fears or childhood. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he begins to lower the emotional walls he's built over time. One of the most intimate and silent signs of this attachment is when he opens up about his fears, past wounds, or childhood experiences. These aren't topics he shares easily or with just anyone. They often hold vulnerability, pain, or long-held insecurities, and trusting you enough to let you see that side of him means he feels emotionally safe in your presence. He might talk about a difficult relationship with a parent, moments when he felt rejected or afraid, or events that shaped who he is today. These stories may not come all at once. They trickle out in moments of quiet honesty, often when he's feeling emotionally close or when the mood feels right. He's not sharing to gain sympathy. He's sharing because he wants you to understand him beyond the surface. You'll notice that his tone softens when he talks about these things. His usual confidence might give way to quiet reflection. In those moments, he's letting you into a part of his world that very few people see. And the fact that he trusts you with those pieces of his past speaks volumes about how deeply he values the emotional connection you share. These conversations are more than just stories. They're his way of saying, I want you to see all of me, not just the polished parts. And when a man shows you the side of himself he usually hides, it means his heart is already leaning toward you in ways he may not even be ready to say out loud. It's not just openness. It's emotional intimacy in its rawest form. 12. He respects your boundaries but stays emotionally close. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he doesn't try to force closeness or cross lines just to get your attention. Instead, he shows a quiet respect for your boundaries, while still staying emotionally present and connected. He understands when you need space, when you're not ready to talk, or when you set limits. And rather than pushing back or pulling away, he honors those limits with patience and care. This kind of respect isn't cold or distant. In fact, it's deeply intimate. Even when he steps back physically, he remains emotionally near. He checks in gently. He lets you know he's there for you without making demands. His presence is steady, not overwhelming, but comforting. He doesn't guilt you into responding, nor does he disappear to play mind games. He simply stays grounded, creating a safe space for you to be exactly who you are. You'll feel his support without pressure. He doesn't need constant contact to feel connected to you, because his bond with you is built on trust, not control. And when you're ready, he's still there, right where you left him, emotionally available and understanding. This kind of behavior shows emotional maturity. It reflects a connection that's not based on neediness, but on genuine care and stability. When someone respects your boundaries yet still finds gentle ways to show they're thinking of you, it means their attachment runs deep. He values your comfort and your autonomy, and is not trying to win you over through pressure. He's showing you, quietly and consistently, that is someone you can feel safe with. And in today's world, that kind of calm, steady presence speaks volumes. 13. He celebrates your wins like they're his own. When a man is emotionally attached to you, your happiness becomes intertwined with his own. One of the clearest and most beautiful signs of this connection is the way he celebrates your wins, big or small, as if they were his own. Whether you land a new job, reach a personal goal, or simply have a good day, he genuinely lights up with joy. There's no trace of competition, no envy, just pure pride and excitement in your success. His reactions aren't performative or exaggerated. They come from the heart. He might text you right away with encouragement, cheer you on more than you expect, or even remember and bring up your achievement days later. He brags about you to others, not to show off, but because he's truly proud to be connected to someone he admires. Your growth inspires him, and your progress feels like shared momentum. Even with small things, like finishing a project, overcoming a fear, or sticking to a goal, he notices. He acknowledges the effort you've put in and honors it with genuine enthusiasm. That kind of emotional support isn't just sweet, it's grounding. It lets you know that he's not just watching from the sidelines. He's emotionally invested in your journey. This kind of shared joy reflects a deep-rooted bond. It means he sees your achievements not as separate from him, but as moments that uplift both of you. When he celebrates your wins without hesitation, it's a quiet but powerful reminder. He's not just with you, he's for you. And in any meaningful relationship, that kind of support is priceless. 14. He tries to comfort you without always using words. When a man is emotionally attached to you, he doesn't always rely on words to show he cares, especially when you're hurting. Instead, he often tries to comfort you in quieter, more meaningful ways. He may not always know exactly what to say, but his presence speaks for him. He'll sit with you in silence, offer a reassuring touch, bring you something small to lift your mood, or simply stay nearby so you don't feel alone. These actions might seem simple: a gentle hand on your back, a warm drink placed beside you, or a look that says "I'm here" without needing explanation. He reads your body language, notices when your energy is low, and instinctively adjusts his behavior to meet you where you are. He won't always try to solve the problem. Sometimes, he just listens. Sometimes, he quietly gives you space while staying emotionally available in the background. This kind of support is incredibly tender because it comes from deep understanding. He doesn't need to fill the silence or fix everything. He just wants you to feel safe and seen. And often, these unspoken gestures mean more than carefully chosen words ever could. They show that he's attuned to you, that he wants to share your emotional load, and that your pain matters to him. In a world where many people rush to speak, a man who chooses to simply be there, calm, steady, and emotionally present, is showing you a rare form of love. When he offers comfort through actions rather than talk, he's not avoiding expression. He's giving you a sanctuary, and in that silence, his heart speaks the loudest. 15. He shows up for you, consistently, quietly, and without expecting anything in return. When a man is emotionally attached to you, his love doesn't come with loud declarations or dramatic gestures. It comes with consistency. He shows up for you, not just in the good moments, but in the ordinary and even difficult ones. He's there when you need help, when you feel low, or when you just want someone to listen. And he doesn't do it for recognition or reward. He does it because he cares, genuinely, quietly, and deeply. You'll notice he doesn't make excuses or disappear when things get hard. If you call, he answers. If you need support, he offers it without hesitation. Even when he has his own challenges, he finds time for you, not out of obligation, but out of emotional connection. His presence becomes something you can count on, like a steady heartbeat behind the noise of everyday life. He doesn't need to be reminded to check on you. He remembers things that matter to you. He notices when you're off without needing you to explain. And he does little things, brings you your favorite snack, waits for you after work, or helps you without being asked. These actions may not be flashy, but they are powerful because they are rooted in sincerity. He doesn't show up to win points. He shows up because your well-being is part of his own. And in a world full of people who offer conditional love, someone who remains present without keeping score is rare. That quiet consistency, being there again and again, without needing a reason, isn't just a sign of emotional attachment. It's a sign of someone who truly sees you, values you, and chooses you every single day.